things off. So as mentioned, you've worked on tons of stuff outside of just the horror genre. You've done dramas, you've done action films, you've done comedy. So I guess I just have to start off because you're very different from other guests I've had who are mainly focused in horror. Are you a fan of horror films? Like, do you enjoy the genre?
I am. I love horror. I actually was, I was going to view some horror movies after this, now that you speak of it. But yeah, I try to watch all genres, but I love horror movies. Especially right now, my significant other loves horror movies too, so we're always watching those. I don't know if it's my parents exposed me to or whatever, but my father also used to watch horror movies. But I've watched movies that stick out that I was actually going to rewatch recently is stuff like Village of the Damned, Pumpkinhead. I don't know if those are a little bit older, but
but then sort of what led you to get into acting? Was stunt work kind of something that you wanted to do first, or was acting kind of what you wanted to do and then you realized, oh wait, stunts are also something that I'm really passionate about, this is what I want to do?
Acting was my first love. I went into this being like acting, but then I didn't even hear of stunt people or stunt work until I moved out to LA and started pursuing my acting career. And all stunt people are basically actors too, because we have to do the scene as the actor would, except put the action into it, So, and I grew up doing gymnastics and a lot of sports, and I've always been physically orientated. So it was just up my alley, and I heard through the grapevine, like I started, my friend told me about this thing called stuntkids.com, and I just reached out to people, and I wanted to learn things like high falls and learn what ratchets were, or just whatever. And I went to this guy named Mike Cassidy and helped train him and the kids, like in exchange for actually learning the stunts myself. And it just started from there, and then you get to know another person, and you get to know another person, and it's a small industry, but once you're meeting, it just grows. It's like a snowball effect.
So when you got started out and you were doing these first couple projects and doing stunts, what were typically the type of stunts that you were doing?
Starting out, just little small fight scenes here and there, just little falls, and so one time I did a stunt was just to be surrounding the actor and near explosives, so that if anything were to go wrong, I guess, like we would get the brunt of the fire instead of the actor or performer. I'm not into these kind of stunts yet, but I hope to get into motorcycle riding, and just anything can be a stunt. If you know how to ski, that can be a stunt.
What was it like working on a production? Because Marvel projects, those are on a completely different level in terms of like the scale. What was it like working on a Marvel movie and, like getting to stand alongside some of like the most prolific Black actors working in Hollywood?
Mind blowing. You feel like you want to pinch yourself because you're in a dream, and it actually still feels like that. Like even today when I'm working with these top name people like Angela Bassett and Michael B. Jordan and stuff like that, it's like, you have to be like, am I really doing this? Like, and they're just so cool and so humble, and I still get nervous or people like that. I'm just, I'm like that person that forgets their name when I'm just trying to have a normal conversation. So yeah, it's overwhelming sometimes, but you got to stay focused.
So then when it comes to, after Black Panther, you had then gone on to do a couple other Marvel movies. You've done stuff with Ant-Man and the Wasp. You've done Captain Marvel. You've also done other superhero projects like Black Lightning. Sort of, when it comes to projects that are similar like that, so like the Marvel movies, are you working with a lot of the same crew in between each movie.
Well, I do meet a lot of different people, but yes, I do see a lot of the same people on projects when I'm, for example, going from Black Panther to Captain Marvel. It was a lot of the same crew, like the same, people working on the cameras and everything, and you just become friends with people, and it becomes like a little party because you're playing and you're seeing the same people that you're used to seeing, and you get friends with people on Facebook and keep in touch here and there, and like, how's your family, and you learn about people, and that's a good part of it. I love it.
You at that point then were also doing stunt work in some horror projects. And I think kind of like the biggest one has to be Us, directed by Jordan Peele. After seeing a film like Get Out, what was it like? Like, did you ever think that you would, get to work on a Jordan Peele movie? And then once you were able to get on, like, as a stunt performer for Us, what was it like?
Well, I didn't know if I ever would work on a Jordan Peele film, but I was a big fan of his from his comedy, Key and Peele, and Get Out was one of my favorites that he's done. But doing Us, I would just like stare at him and watch him work and watch him direct, and I just really looked at him like he was a genius, and he's really inspiring, because I come from a comedy background. Like, I've tried stand up, and I used to be like the class clown in school and everything. So it's inspiring to know that people can and will take you seriously if you're doing it right, but I did more than I thought I would on that film, basically two different people, but as herself. And I was always opposite. Sometimes when they did the split screen, they have to have somebody else being the other character. So a lot of the times that would be like the back of my head, and and I had to do a lot of acting for that, so to give the actor something to feed off of. So it's a lot of acting, a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. There's a lot of stunts in horror films because people are constantly getting killed, So, I've been stabbed in the neck, I've been pushed down the steps. So that's more of what I'd say I've done on horror films, as opposed to like a fight scene. I've never really done, well, except for in Us, I did do a fight scene, but you're doing more. There's more blood and gore and stuff like that. People are trying to kill you, and as opposed to you fighting somebody.
Out of all the stunts that you've done, what is probably your favorite stunt that you've ever got to do? And then sort of similar to that, out of all the stunts you've done, what was probably, I don't want to say like maybe the scariest, but probably the one that you had to like maybe hype yourself up about, the one that you were maybe a little nervous about doing?
Some of the scariest stunts are the most fun, which I don't know if that makes sense. One of the most memorable also is the first Black Panther. I got to ride on top of a car in the middle of South Korea, and it wasn't scary. I had to just picture it, and I was kind of outside myself, it is just really fun, but you don't think of the danger until afterwards, like, oh, somebody could have hit that car and I could have been like squashed underneath it if it flipped over, you know what I mean? But you don't think about it at the time, and it was just one of the most memorable and most fun. And Black Panther 2, we had to do a stunt where we jumped off a high place, like it was supposed to be the boat, but we jumped off of the building in real life, but we're on wires. But I do have sort of a fear of heights, even though I jump from them. It sounds crazy because people are like, you can jump from there and you're scared of heights a little bit. Yeah, I just gotta like prep my mind, and then it ends up being exhilarating, like a roller coaster, like people go on roller coasters and other people are like, are you insane? I'm never gonna go on that. But it's like a thrill. It's a thrill ride, but a professional one, because you still have to know technique and focus on what you're doing so you don't get hurt.